one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
It hasn't happened at Fenway Park for 95 years. The Red Sox are world champions.
All right, we are here in our beautiful virtual studios. We don't really have a studio, so I'm going to call it a virtual studio. This is Red Sox Beat, of course. Jess Thomas, alongside myself, Jared Scally. Jess, it's a gross day outside.
Yeah, gross yesterday, gross today, and gross for part of tomorrow.
So no Red Sox game Monday night. If you're listening tonight, then enjoy us instead of watching this miserable of a baseball team play baseball. You get to listen to us instead. If you're listening to past the game, then hopefully you enjoyed your Monday night because you're not watching baseball. Excuse me. Whew. Got something caught in my throat there. All right, sports fans, you want to engage with your favorite CLNS personalities? Download the Reached app today for both the iPhone and Android. Are you a fan of the Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins, or Patriots? Of course you are. Make your voice heard. Join your favorite show, and our host will ask the questions. Make your answer, maybe your answer will get heard on air. Download the Reached app today at www.reachedapp.com/CLNS. Struggle to get through that read, Jess. Just like the Red Sox have been struggling to get through this season. That was kind of fitting.
It's only fair.
It's been really bad, and this rain is kind of a signifier, as this is what they deserve when they come home from their road trip. They get to come home to a miserable-looking Boston because this is God crying. This is or whatever you believe in, higher power crying over the Red Sox and what they're doing right now, because they should not be in last place. They are. What's their record now? They are
22-29.
22-29. Last place in the AL East, and that's a crap AL East you're last place in. If it wasn't for you being in the AL East, you would be like 15 or 16 games back in first place, but luckily you're only 4. So
yeah, we thought they were bad last week when they were 21-23. I would take that now.
Yeah, no, I'd go back to that. Let's rewind and do this week over. I had a pretty good week. Would you redo the week over, Jess? I had a decent week despite the Red Sox losing.
Yeah, I'd like to at least replay their play this week. I'd be totally cool with that.
Yeah, they need to do that because it was bad. So we got a lot to talk about here. We're
gonna break it all down.
Headlines to get to. Jess is gonna give you, of course, a wonderful recap. I might even ask him to throw in some quick reaction grades to some certain players that we're going to talk about. Yes, letter grades. We're going back to grades, grammar school here.
I'd also like to go over some Reached app responses as well, because that'll be fun.
We can do that as well. Jess, the king of Reached app here for Red Sox Beat, so I can have him do that for you too as well. Let's start with MLB Headlines, though, Jess. First, Martin Maldonado rescued his team in the 17th inning with a walk-off home run to give the Brewers a 7-6 win. He said after the game he was simply happy to end the game because he was exhausted himself, and because the rest of everybody else wasn't doing it, he decided to take it upon himself to do it for his team. Second, Juan Uribe was dealt from the Dodgers to the Braves in a 6-player deal last week. Alberto Calaspo is the big get for the Braves in this deal. That was a big deal. The league decided to veto it in the first place, and they eventually worked around some details and eventually made it happen. Staying with the Dodgers, Ken Rosenthal has reported that Andrew Friedman is opening to trading about anyone this season to help his team, and that actually includes Yasiel Puig. Puig is nursing a strained left hamstring, and since he got hurt originally in April, he is rumored to be back potentially on a minor league stint this week. Trading Yasiel Puig is not off the table, according to Ken Rosenthal. And finally, welcome back Josh Hamilton. Josh Hamilton hit a pinch hit walk-off double to beat your lovely Red Sox on Sunday afternoon tonight, 4-3, bottom of the ninth. It was a terrible loss, and we'll get more into that after Jess breaks down the MLB headlines for us right now.
Well, that Brewers Diamondbacks game was insane. Had a little bit of the Red Sox Yankees 19-inning game feel. I just kept looking at the box score and thinking, is this game ever going to end? Well, sure enough, it did. Martin Maldonado with his home run, and I guess if you're exhausted, if you can still get the power to blast that homer, then you deserve to win.
He was tired. You could tell they all were, and 17-inning games are not fun. I was bored watching at my other job for a minor league baseball game in the area around here, and it was 12 innings, and I was exhausted. Never mind the players. Just for 12 innings, I don't know how. I don't even want to deal with board watching a 17-inning game. But never mind the players dealing with a 17-inning game. Just not fun.
It's hard enough to watch 17 innings period at once rather than even just
that's pretty much 2 full games, Jess. That's a lot of baseball in one night.
Games are 9 innings for a reason. 9 innings is as long as it is. So 17 innings,
9 innings might be too long sometimes.
17 innings is long. The deal, Juan Uribe and Alberto Callaspo, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me. Uribe's pretty old at this point, and Callaspo's pretty average player as it is. So I guess it was a big deal because there was 6 players involved, even though none of them were particularly high caliber. But a trade's a trade.
Most of them were minor leaguers, weren't they?
Yeah.
For those 2.
Yeah. So
I think it was just more. I think those 2 were just kind of change of scenery. Braves needed a shortstop. Callaspo probably needed a change of scenery as well. I'm not going to do too much for either team, but either way, it happened. And the biggest thing, Jess, for this was just the fact that it was vetoed in the first place by the commissioner, and then eventually was allowed.
Right. Well, Uribe's 36 years old, but he did it a home run already for the Braves. So
look at him go. Look at him go.
Uribe. This is interesting news about the the GM Andrew Friedman being open to trading anyone. I guess he really wants to win, but they got a pretty good team as it is. I mean, their record is pretty solid at this point. They're 29-20. Most teams in the league would take that record at this point because there's a lot of average teams in the league.
Yeah, but
he's still willing to shop anyone. So that's interesting to me. I wouldn't have expected that. But
do you think Yasiel Puig is going to get traded? They have him locked up till he's 29, I believe.
Probably not, but I think he's overrated in the first place. So,
dude.
Yes.
Really? Really? That dude's good.
Yeah, he's good, but I don't know. I think he's too much of a headache to deal with how good he is, which I think is a negative on his play, and I think eventually he'll get worse, and people will just not want him anymore.
I think you'll be singing a different tune if you got him in Boston. I'm not saying you will, just saying. If you had him in Boston, I think you'd be singing a much different tune, just like the rest of the city would be.
Maybe. If that happens, we'll talk about it.
It won't happen, so we don't have to worry about talking about it.
So we'll talk about Josh Hamilton like we do every week.
It seems like he's literally in our update every week.
Something new keeps happening. But he is back in the league with the Rangers, who treat him much better than the Angels, so too bad for the Angels. They lose his good hitting services, and good for the Rangers for taking care of him and helping him and reaping the benefits of his offense while he kills the Red Sox. So that was pretty sad, but good for him that he's back, and hopefully he keeps hitting well.
Sadly, still divorcing his wife.
Hey, at least he has baseball now.
But
got something.
Back to baseball. He's back to where he's comfortable. Sadly, it didn't work out in L.A., but, I mean, I think he never really should have left Texas in the first place. I thought it was kind of a dumb idea for him to leave Texas. They weren't paying him that much less to stay in Texas. Like, the success that he was having in Texas, I understand that the appeal of playing with Pujols and playing in L.A. was a big thing, but he's a Texas boy, and they weren't going to give him any better treatment than Texas did for his relapse situations and all that stuff. So I think Texas was probably the only place he was going to go back to play if he was to continue playing. And I think baseball is helping him with his personal life in terms of not relapsing again. So I think that you just have to have the right support system in baseball, and that's what Texas has given him.
Yeah, I don't think he would have gone to the Angels if he realized how poorly it was going to go.
I think
you get a crystal ball, but yeah.
I think they told him what he wanted to hear when he signed there. When he probably said, "Hey, what's your support system like? This is what Texas was doing, all this stuff," and they were like, "Yeah, we'll do that for you. Like, we're here for you." And they didn't take it seriously, and he got screwed by it. And that I think I blame the Angels just as much as I blame Hamilton for relapsing. So
do I.
So that's that, and I think he's going to be good back in Texas, and I think even post-playing career, I think they're going to continue to help him move forward in his personal life as well. Have to think so anyway. But all right, those are your MLB headlines. They're, of course, brought to you by lynda.com. They're lynda.com giving you a free 10-day trial through CLNS. Just go to lynda.com/CLNS for over 4,500 different courses taught by experts on anything you can think of, between web development, audio and video design, just anything you can think of is on there. So taught by expert. So go on there and check it out. Get your free 10-day trial. Again, MLB Headlines brought to you by lynda.com. All right, Jess. I hate to make you do it, but it was an ugly week. So I'm going to let you do the weekly recap despite people probably already knowing what happened. I'm going to let you break it down. We're going to explain how bad of a week it really was. We had some numbers for the month of May as well. We're going to give you like a May overlook of how bad this team was. So I'm going to let Jess do his thing.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take the good with the bad. If you have good weeks, you recap those. You have bad weeks, you got to recap those as well.
This was a really bad
oh
bad
my God. Just looking at all the L's on the schedule here, it's pretty bad.
Like, I want to throw my computer out the window bad.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. So, Monday through Sunday, 1-6 record. We started with the Twins, and I picked them to sweep the Twins, and a sweep did happen, but not the right sweep at all.
Other way around.
Yeah. So we started on Monday, on Memorial Day, and Joe Kelly could not have been much worse in that game. It was a 7-2 Twins win, and they got all 7 of their runs in the first 2 innings. All off Joe Kelly. He didn't even last 2 innings. He pitched 1.2 innings, gave up 8 hits, 7 runs. The big one was a Trevor Plouffe 3-run homer to cap off that horrendous second inning. Matt Barnes came in and pitched a fantastic game. 3 1/3 innings, didn't give up a run, 5 strikeouts. Gave up 5 hits, but didn't give up any runs, and that's what you're looking for. So the bullpen really actually did fantastic, considering they gave up no runs the whole rest of the game. But when you give up 7 runs in 2 innings, it's going to be a little hard to come back, and it was. The Sox scored 2 in the third, and that was it. Didn't score the rest of the game. Ricky Nolasco shut him down for the most part over 7 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 5 Ks. That's all they needed, and Game 1 was history. That's about all I have to say with that. I mean, it was over. It was over within the first 2 innings.
Yep.
That's all it was. So
very bad.
Bad start to the trip. Just a bad start, period, to everything, considering how well they played in the final 2 games against the Angels, which got us excited, which made us pick them having a better week this week. And they started off with basically losing a game in 2 innings, which is the worst way to start off a trip and the worst way to ruin the momentum you had that you just got.
I'm going to basically say, Jess, that we considered that to maybe be a turnaround point, and we discovered that those 2 games they won against the Angels were the anomaly, that they weren't going to get any momentum. They weren't getting momentum. They suck, and they're going to keep sucking, and I don't think this is getting better anytime soon.
Well, that was the problem with that game. It's like that was literally the worst thing that could have happened in that game. The timing of it, just like going on the road after wins and just blowing it immediately. Like literally the worst thing that could have happened in that game.
Yeah.
So it started them off 0-1, brought them into Tuesday, which was a much better game in terms of not giving up 7 runs in the first 2 innings. Unfortunately, Clay Buchholz pitched and gave up 2 runs in the first, which wasn't a good sign, but he didn't give up any the whole rest of the game, which was a great sign. Unfortunately, that offense that we keep talking about was, again, non-existent. Only scoring 1 run. All the runs were scored in this game in the first 2 innings. 2 for the Twins in the first, 1 for the Red Sox in the second, and that was it. Nothing else for the whole rest of the game. The runs were scored again, Trevor Plouffe, RBI double, Kurt Suzuki RBI double, and then Mike Napoli drove an Ortiz in the second. That was it. Buchholz pitched 7 1/3, only gave up the 2 runs, 7 hits, another pretty solid outing for him. He's had a number of successful outings in a row, but in his last 3 outings, he's only gotten 1 run of support in each one of those. You're not going to win many games doing that. I mean, really, if you look at Buchholz at this point, you got a 2-6 record for him, but his ERA is down to 4.33, which what he started with is actually pretty good.
It's not as bad as you'd think it would be.
Not nearly as bad. He's actually stepped up and actually pitched well. I mean, his last 3 games, 7 1/3, 2 runs, 7 1/3, 2 runs, 8 innings, 1 run. That's 3 darn good starts. He lost every single one of them, 2-1, 3-1, and 2-1. That's so bad.
No run support.
Yeah, you can't blame.
This is the tale of last summer all over again.
It is just 0 offense. Doesn't matter how good your pitching is, and it's disappointing because Buchholz could easily have a 5-4 or 5-3 record. And then people probably wouldn't be talking. I mean, that's the thing. People aren't really talking about how bad he is because I think most people realize he has pitched pretty well.
Yeah, it's everyone else that's sucking.
Yeah. So no runs for the Sox, just the 1 off Mike Pelfrey. He pitched 7 innings of his own and only gave up 1 run, and that was it. Can't score, you can't win. Another loss.
This is going to be a trend, isn't it, Jess?
Well, you don't score, you don't win.
Just them not scoring runs at all.
Which makes no sense
because think about it, too. The runs they did score early in the season were all unearned, and we knew that they were going to catch up to them. But we all thought that they were going to hit.
Right. All we talked about for the month before the season started on this show was, oh my God, the offense is going to be so good. The offense is going to be so good. Which we're really going to dig into later in the show with specific players.
Oh, don't worry. You'll have your chance to listen to us gripe on the offense. Don't worry.
Yeah. what we're doing right now is like a preview.
We're being nice right now. We're just kind of swinging through the games here.
So that brought us to Wednesday. Looking to salvage just one pitiful game in this series that I hoped they would sweep. But the Twins are for real. I mean, the Twins are the best team in the American League right now, record-wise. So don't sleep on them. Getting swept by them.
Wait, are they above Houston?
Yep, they're a game ahead of Houston.
It's crazy they're leading the AL Central.
Yeah,
with that division.
They're 30-19 at this point after this full week. So
I thought they were going to be the worst team in the AL this year.
Most people did. Paul Molitor is rookie head coach. He's figured out a way to get some wins, and I think having Torrey Hunter back with
don't underestimate the idea. Don't underestimate Torrey Hunter being there at all.
Yeah, that's a big deal. So, yeah. So, I mean, I would say that getting swept by them isn't terrible because they're a good team, but you shouldn't get swept by anybody if you're a half-decent team. So, yep, that brought us to Wednesday, and frustrating game because the Red Sox got up 2-0 in the third inning. Dustin Pedroia hit a 2-run homer. This was the Pedroia game, as I'll get to in a second. But unfortunately, which is what Rick Porcello has done the last 2 games, was give up the lead immediately after he gets the lead. Happened in the 12-5 loss to the Angels. Happened in this game as well. Minnesota scored 3 runs right away in the bottom of the third inning, right after Pedroia's home run in the top of the third. Torrey Hunter had a 2 RBI single. Joe Mauer had an RBI single. That was 3-2. And then after the Red Sox went quietly in the fourth inning, Minnesota got 2 more in the fourth. Bottom half of the fourth, Aaron Hicks hit his first home run of the year, a 2-run homer. Inexcusable to go a home run to a guy who hasn't even hit one yet. And it was bad timing because it put the Red Sox down 5-2 all of a sudden when it was just 2-0 just 2 innings before. And Pedroia was back at it right away in the fifth inning, just trying to do anything he can to get the team a win. Hits another 2-run homer in the fifth to get it to 5-4. But everyone else in the lineup was non-existent besides Pedroia, and Minnesota scored one more time on another home run off Porcello. He gave up 6 runs on 7 hits in 7 innings. Not exactly what you want from your supposed number 2 guy.
You know what bugs me about Rick Porcello?
How inconsistent he is?
Well, it actually kind of ties into that. Not exactly that, though.
Okay.
Just, he is the king of giving up momentum.
Mm.
I feel like he's done this multiple times this year. It's your team gives you 2 runs on a Dustin Pedroia home run or something else in that situation. Next half inning, he comes back and gives him 3.
Well, he gives up too many home runs, period, which is exactly what you're saying. Like, I feel like it's always home runs. It's the momentum. You get the runs and a home run. It's like home runs deflate pitchers so much.
He just can't, like, if he could just come out and and actually in that game specifically, he pitched really well the first 2 innings. Mm-hmm. Like, really well. I was like, oh, it's going to be another good Rick Porcello start here, okay. And then Pedroia hit the 2-run bomb, and I'm like, okay, this is getting better. And then the next half inning, as soon as he had a cushion, it's like his balls didn't drop for that game, and he decided he had a comfortable lead, and he decided to screw it and not pitch well. And then he gave up 3 runs or whatever it was, and then there you go, the momentum's gone. If you just pitch that inning well, even giving up a hit, and as long as you don't give up a run, it's like, okay, you got the game under a grasp now. You're okay. You're up 2-0. You pitch another inning with a lead. You're good. Now keep going. But he can't do that for some reason.
Yeah, he retired the first 7 guys in the game, and like he said, 2 walks, and 2 of those 3 walks scored. You can't walk guys, and that's what he did in the Angels game the last week, and the horrible loss. He walked the first 2 batters of the inning.
I'm intrigued to see if there's a stat. I'm guarantee you there's not. But unless we have, like, the Bureau stats, which we don't get because we're not, like, ESPN or, like, the official media members. But, like, if there's a stat that shows how, like, pitching the half inning after your team scores. Because I'm sure he has, like, the worst ERA in that situation ever in the history of the game.
If you decide to look through every single one of his starts, you can figure it out. But that would be the only way.
Well, someone should do it for me.
Right.
That would make life a lot easier.
People for that.
My eyeball test tells me that stat's going to be bad, so I'm not going to bother doing the math.
Yeah, no, it's probably true, and it's happened the last 2 games that he's pitched. So
it's rough. If anyone knows of anything, by any chance, that's listening, hit us up on Twitter, at Red Sox Beat. Feel free to tell me. I probably don't know. There probably is something out there, I just don't know. So feel free to tell me on Red Sox Beat, at Red Sox Beat on Twitter.
Or at CLNS_just or at JScal18.
_CLNS.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting greedy. I wasn't going to promote myself, but okay, I'll do it.
It's our show. We should.
Cool. All right, keep going.
So that was that game, 6-4 loss and a sweep. So a 7-2 loss, a 2-1 loss, and a 6-4 loss. Kind of all ball punchers because the first one was just so bad at the beginning. The second one was so close and you couldn't win. The third one was close too. It's just horrible ways to lose.
Okay, but those aren't even completely ball punchers except for last night, which we'll get to. But
yeah, they're ball punchers in terms of what happened, but not.
Yeah, if those three are ball punchers, then I don't know what last night was.
An extra ball puncher.
Yeah, right. Double whammy. Twice in a row.
Double ball puncher, yeah. So after the sweep, Eduardo Rodriguez got called up to make his first major league start, and boy, if every pitcher of the season could have been like him in that game, then we'd be the best team in the league.
Man, was he good.
Dominant. I was so excited watching him. He pitched 7 2/3 innings and gave up 0 runs. He shot him out. Three hits, that's it. Yep.
Should he have... Okay. We know they won that game. Should they have brought him out for the 8th inning?
Yeah, why not?
He was at 96 pitches. This kid's on top of the world. His confidence is sky high. So he need to come out for the 8th inning?
He doesn't have to, but I mean, if you're not even at 100 pitches...
doesn't that set you up perfectly for the 8th for Tasawa, who's been lights out for you this season? And then Koji, who hadn't pitched that much in a while because the team sucked.
Well, Lane pitched an inning in this game, actually. But it was Lane and then Uehara. So maybe...
Well, I know, but, in general theory...
Well, yeah, of course.
But, if you didn't because Lane came in to help him get out of the 8th.
Well, here's the reason they did it. I think if it was still 2-1, 2-0, which it was going to the 8th inning, then they would have taken him out, but the Red Sox got 3 in the top of the 8th. And I think that was the reason they brought him back out, since they had a 5-run lead.
Okay, that's fair.
But I think normally, though, yeah, you would probably take him out.
Because, he was, through 7 innings, he was just,
so good.
Phenomenal. Good thing he didn't give him a run, though. That would have tarnished his start a little bit. Good thing he didn't give up a run. I'm glad he shut him out.
Yep.
Nothing on the card there for Eddie Rodriguez.
Erod.
Erod. I'm never calling him Erod. Never do that again.
Yeah, no, Dave O'Brien kept doing it on the radio. I was like, sounds weird. Erod?
No, we're not. We're not saying Erod.
Yeah.
Because then he'll follow a life of steroids and scandals and...
Yeah, we don't need another one of those Rodriguez.
We don't need another one of those. We already almost missed on one of those. We already missed on one of those, so we don't need to replace him with this one.
The big bopper in this game was Hanley Ramirez. He hit a home run. His first home run in a month, finally.
You're so exciting.
Oh, finally. It was nice.
Thank you, Dustin Pedroia.
A nice home run. He cranked it. Yeah. Tell everyone the story about that.
Everyone knows by now that Mike Napoli was fixed by Dustin Pedroia noticing a hitch in his swing on the trip back from Seattle. Well, apparently Hanley had not the same problem, but Hanley had the same fix. It was called Sit Down with Dustin Pedroia Day. And
figure out your swing.
Pedroia was showing him pictures of what he was doing wrong. Funny enough, it was showing him obviously right in the view of the Nesson cameras, clearly able to see that everyone was being fixed by Pedroia. But yeah, he was showing him pictures, and Hanley was able to fix by Dustin Pedroia's know-it-all of the game. And yeah, Pedroia has now claimed a 2-0 record with fixing hitters on his team.
But he claimed I'm not a hitting coach. Didn't want any credit for it.
Yeah, no. He tried to throw it at Chili Davis. Okay, well, let's fire Chili Davis then so you can take the credit. You're doing everything that helps this team, not Chili Davis.
Yeah, Pedroia's the man. The big thing in this game, besides the pitching and Ramirez's home run, was Bogaerts got hit in the wrist with a pitch and left the game. I guess it was technically the forearm, but it was kind of closer to the wrist. He came out, but he did not miss any time. So I guess they're all as well with that. It looked really bad, though. It looked really painful.
It did look really bad when it happened.
His arm, shuddered. So that was the win, the one win of the road trip, 5-1, excellent win. You think it would give some momentum, but it didn't.
What's momentum with this team?
Yeah, it's really apparently not a thing. So that brought us to Friday, which was Josh Hamilton Day in Texas. He hit 2 home runs off of Stephen Wright. But Wright pitched another decent game. He pitched 5 2/3, 5 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 4 Ks. Pretty good, but not good enough when you don't score very much.
Just Deer, question.
Did you just call me Deer?
I did. Just go.
I'll go with it.
Was that his first game back?
Hamilton?
Yeah.
No.
Was this? I could have sworn that this series was his first game back.
It was his first home series back.
Oh, okay. He did play before that?
Yes.
Okay.
He played 3 games at Cleveland.
Okay. Never mind then. Keep going.
It was his first home run, however. His first,
Okay, well then, okay, then I can rant. Are you kidding me, Boston? You let him be the hero against you.
A guy who's hardly played at all.
Make him look bad. Shut him down. I don't care if he hasn't played and he had a drug relapse. Don't feel bad. I don't care if he hasn't hit a home run while he plays. You can do it against the next team.
Yeah, he was 2 for 3 with 2 home runs and 3 runs in that game. Killer.
Come on, you don't do that, Boston. Even though I'm used to it by now.
I know.
Like, I expect them to lose. I honestly, every game I do choose to sit down and watch completely, I expect them to lose. I don't hope for a win. I hope that they don't get blown out.
That's sad.
It's becoming to that extent already. They're like ruining my summer. They already ruined my summer. And it's not even summer.
No, it's not.
It's June 1st.
It's not summer. So the story in this game was not Stephen Wright. It was the bullpen. Grande gave up 2 runs. Breslow gave up 2 runs. They stunk it up. And the Red Sox did get 4 runs. Bogart hit a sac fly. Swihart hit an RBI single. And Hanley Ramirez hit another home run. Back-to-back games with home runs. This was a 2-run, which brought Boston within 5-4. But right in the bottom of the 8th, right after they got it in the top of the 8th, Robinson Chirinos hit a 2 RBI double, made it 7-4. So right as you get that close, they pull it away from you, like every team's been doing. So I'd say the one highlight from this game was Blake Swihart, because he got an RBI single, and he actually has been hitting much better. I wanted to note that because it was one of the bright spots, along with Eduardo Rodriguez on this trip. Swihart actually has a seven-game hitting streak right now, believe it or not.
I know, it's crazy.
6 of those 7 are one-hit games, and one of them is a 2. But regardless, he's been scoring runs, and he's been getting hits, and he's been getting some RBI. So his average is up to 225, and it was as low as 170, or 163 actually. So Swihart is figuring out how to hit in the majors as well as catching great. So very good bright spot there, and a good sign for all Red Sox fans, because this guy is definitely the future catcher, and he's starting to show it, which is great. And John Farrell and Mike Napoli got ejected from this game for arguing. So frustration boils over. Maybe you get some momentum from that frustration? Nah. We had to Saturday, which was a horrendous game. You lost 4 out of 5. You're looking to get back on the right track. You got Wade Miley, who's been pitching well, but he has 1 bad inning, and that kind of did it. A 4-run 4th inning. Made it 5-0 Texas, and the Red Sox only got 5 hits in the game, period. So 5 hits is not going to beat 5 runs. Oof. 3 errors.
That game,
yeah.
That was one of those games that was very hard to watch. Like, that was turned off by the 4th inning.
Well, Farrell even after the game was talking about how bad of an effort it was. He wasn't even holding back, and he usually does hold back with stuff like that. So
he holds back all the time. So
that's when you know that game was bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, just bad overall. 3 errors, only 5 hits, getting shut out by Chichi Gonzalez making his major league debut. The Red Sox always have trouble with guys making their debuts. And
he didn't even do anything though. Chichi didn't look too good.
He had 5 walks.
He just the Red Sox just didn't hit him. They just didn't put the bat on the ball.
Didn't put the bat on the ball, didn't put the glove on the ball, and pitched like crap. And that's a good way to lose 8-0.
That's like the prime recipe to get blown out.
Yep. Pitch
like crap, hit like crap. Play the defense like crap.
That's how you give up 8 runs, score none, get 3 errors. That's how you do it.
Yep, pretty much.
That's all I should say about that. So 8-0 loss, and that gave them their 5th game out of 6 lost on the trip. So you're just holding out hope they can get this 2-5 road trip, get that 1 win, and it looked like it was going to happen yesterday, if you're listening today, Monday. Red Sox got 2 runs in the first 2 innings. Joe Kelly was on the ropes. Could be his last start. He didn't pitch great, but he pitched well enough to keep the game tied at 2. He got out a lot of jams. Probably secured himself another start.
I was going to ask you that. Do you think that start secured him another one?
I think it does, just because if he gave up another 7 or 8 runs, forget it. But if you just look at his game, the fact that he only gave up 2 runs and only 1 earned, I think you got to keep him in for now.
Yeah, I agree. 6-man rotation.
Unfortunately, he threw 100 pitches in 5 innings, which is not good. But, I mean, pressure, he's on the ropes. He probably knew it could have been his last start. So, knowing all that, knowing that he got out of jams and gave up only a couple of runs, I think it's an encouraging sign, at least for him. And it looked like it was all good. Red Sox were up 3-2. should have been more runs since they had 11 hits. And Josh Hamilton decided to kill them in the end with a 2 RBI double off Koji Uehara. 3 errors for the Red Sox. So overall, pretty crappy considering they gave up the walk-off, had 3 more errors, and could only manage to get 3 runs out of 11 hits. So kind of just discouraging overall, but everyone would have forgot about all the bad things that happened in the game if they just could have gotten the win. And another heartbreaker, the biggest heartbreaker because it was actually close, unlike the majority of the games in the series. That one hurt, and blowing a game when you're 1 out away from winning it is just
Don't forget, too, that Hanley had first and third in the top of the 9th, right?
Yep.
Yesterday?
Yep.
And had a chance to drive another run or two and just
popped.
Fan?
Yep.
Just couldn't do it. Whiffed on a great chance. And that was the story of this road trip, man. It was bad.
Yeah, they couldn't capitalize. That's what I said. 11 hits and you only score 3 runs. You got to get more than that. If you have the opportunity, you have the chance, you got to take advantage of that.
And I would have been even okay with the rest of that game if he had got a hit there. I would have looked past the other ones. Right. In that stat of only 3 runs and 11 hits if he just got a hit there.
I know. He got an RBI single in the first. That's great. We need RBI singles in the 8th and 9th innings, Yeah.
You need to come up big in the end of the game, too, and that was not what happened. So it was kind of rough. But there it is. That's Jess's lovely recap for... Oh, God. You have extra stats, too, right? Just, oof.
Yeah, so that finished out May, thankfully, after a 12-10 April, which was average, but we would take that any time now. The team went 10-19 in May with a 237 average, 80 RBI, which is, for comparison purposes, 26 less than they had in April. In, 7 more games? But that was 29, and that was, 7 more games. 26 less RBI. Whew. That's bad. 82 runs in May compared to 113 in April. Also horrendous. For the season, 221 average with runners in scoring position, 224 average with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, and their overall run differential is minus 48. They've scored 195 runs and given up 243. The only AL teams they scored more runs than are the Tampa Bay Rays by 3, the Chicago White Sox by 16, and the Seattle Mariners by 9. But all those teams, Tampa Bay has a plus 13 run differential. Chicago is minus 42, which still isn't as bad as the Red Sox, and they have a better record. And Seattle's only given up 204 runs as opposed to the 243 with the Red Sox. So despite the fact they score more runs than those teams, they've given up more than any of them, and that gives them the worst run differential in the American League, which is a way to have a bad record, which they do.
What scares me too? Well, not really scared. Well, the run differential scares me, but that's the stat that they care about the most over there at Fenway. We all know that. They love the run differential stat. And they're the worst in the American League.
Minus 48 is terrible.
You should not be minus 48 in overall run differential and be only 4 games back. You're lucky you're playing a crappy division. But if they really care much about that stat, as they always claim they have, they're going to be doing something very soon. Very soon.
Even Toronto is only a half game ahead of us. They have a plus 25 run differential, and they have 73 more runs than the Red Sox. Come on.
Yeah, no,
here.
It's bad. It's bad. All right. There's your recap, Jess. Beautiful job, as always.
Thank you.
Way to recap a crap week. Probably the best you could have done for recapping a very crappy week. All right. Again, that's Jess's recap. Week 1 and 6 on the week the Red Sox were. Thank God we got a new week, and thank God for the rain out, because they need a day off, and they got one. Definitely. So hopefully they can come back a little stronger. Of course, you're listening to Red Sox Beat here on CLNS Radio. Jess Thomas, Jared Scally. Find us on iTunes. It'd be great if you go on there, review us, rate us, subscribe to us too. Automatic downloads. It's a great feature. You can just go on there. Don't have to worry about finding us. Just subscribe it and listen to it whenever you want. It's a great thing. Obviously on Stitcher as well. Obviously on the CLNS Radio website as well too. So go on and check us out there. Also on Twitter and Facebook. Okay, let's get more depth here, Jess, about this lovely crap of a team that we got going on here.
Oh, can I just own up to the fact that I picked them to go 6-1 this week too? What a mistake! Oof.
Yeah, right. You went about a complete 180 of what they were going to do. Literally a complete
I got
180.
the numbers right, but
yeah,
they were flipped,
didn't put it in
unfortunately.
the right. Didn't put it in the right order.
Yeah.
It's bad. It was bad. It was very bad to watch. It was hard to watch. Eddie Rodriguez, I'd have to say, is probably the MVP of this week. Jess, have to agree with me. I think he's the only person you really can give it to.
Yeah, other than Blake Swihart, but Swihart, we only got one win, and that one was because of Rodriguez, so that alone pretty much gives it to him.
He got it because he didn't suck like everybody else. But again, he went 7 2/3, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 runs, period. 7 strikeouts on 105 pitches. That was his major league debut, folks. So, can't get much better than that for the first game of the big leagues.
We'll look forward to his home debut, which is going to be Wednesday at 1:35.
So, no one's going to be there to see it.
Yep. No pressure.
No pressure at all. He'll probably pitch good again.
Probably.
All right, let's talk about this, Jess, because this is kind of relating to the not scoring runs, and we can get to a couple other guys in a second here, but I want to talk about David Ortiz. He's got a .224 batting average, 6 homers this season. It's father time catching him. Is this it? Like, is this the last season? Like, because we all seen in the past that we've been flirting with the idea of, is this his last season? Oh, his father time finally caught up with him. And then he kind of plays well and proves us out of it and has a great season. He didn't start 2013 that well either, and then he became who he was again, and obviously played for the marathon and everything, and that happened, and he played well. And last year he played okay after a rough start. And is this another rough start, or we're at June 1st now, Jess? Is this it? Like, is this father time finally catching him? He's 39 years old.
Yeah, he is old, but I'm going to say no for now. I think what's going to happen with him is that he's going to more slowly fade out, not as dramatically as what's happening right now. Like, I don't think this is the fade out. I think he's going to pick it back up. He's going to raise his average, and he'll be more average for the rest of however long he plays, instead of going from like a really good player to like hitting 150. I don't think that's going to happen, which is what people think is happening right now. I think he's going to snap out of it. I think he's going to figure it out. I don't think he's completely done. I think this is the start of the downhill turn, but I think it's going to be a slower path rather than fast like it is now.
Because last year he even hit, I think we brought it up last week. I think I brought it up last, I don't even know. But he hit like 260 something last year. It wasn't phenomenal numbers last year. He just had come up with big hits at the right time. This year it's not great.
No, he's not getting any big hits, and he's getting out the majority of the time.
And his average has dropped since last year. So it's just, for me, I think it's catching up. I think that this, I don't know. See, I don't want to say it's the last year you're going to see him in a Red Sox uniform, because if he's that'll be when he retires, because I don't think he's going to play for anyone else, because realistically, who else is going to want him? If he's declining and the Red Sox don't want to keep him, then I don't think anyone else is going to want him, you know? I feel like, and you're not going to be able to trade him. God, no. Because what are you going to get for him now? Who's going to take him?
Well, yeah, not at this point.
Because you can't trade him to the NL.
Nope.
Just because he's a DH. You're not going to trade him within the division, because it's still close. You're not going to trade him to a team like Houston, because Houston won't take him.
And he's not going to want to go anywhere else, period.
And he's not going to want to go anywhere. I'm assuming, does he have a no-trade clause? Do they do that?
I have no idea.
I don't even know if they do that in baseball, to be completely honest. No, they do. That's a lie. Of course they do. But I don't think he has one. But then again, who's gonna take him? What contender is gonna take him? Or what contender needs him? You know? Like, you might get 2 or 3 teams who kind of will have interest, and you might have one team who would actually want the guy.
But because of his current numbers right now, they're not going to be sure if it's worth it. Yeah.
They're not going to, well, not even worth it. You're not going to get anything for him. And that one team who wants him, actually wants him, is going to be able to drive the market wherever they want it, because you're going to seem desperate enough to want to get rid of him.
Right.
So they're going to go, okay, well, this is what we're going to give you. That's it, no matter what. If take it or leave it. And then the Red Sox will go, oh, well, maybe we can do this instead and work this out. And the guy, nope, this is what we want. This is it. Okay, and then you don't end up getting rid of David Ortiz, or you get rid of him for nothing.
Yeah, no, I think they're just going to keep him. I don't think his numbers right now are going to stay like this. I think he'll figure it out. I think he'll realize that this team really needs a lot from him, and more than they're getting right now. And I think he'll figure it out. I mean, he's still feared. He's still getting intentionally walked late in games. Teams are still afraid of him. He's still that presence, and obviously he's still good for the clubhouse. But I don't think it's quite the end of him yet.
Okay, let me ask you this then, Jess, and you know it's coming because I wrote it down this week. I actually wrote a surprise question down. I didn't actually not surprise you this week. So he sat a couple games, and they claim John Farrell said he was going to try to figure it out. David Ortiz came out and said he had the flu. don't know what that was about, because we all knew that he was sitting down to figure out his swing. I don't know why he said that.
I didn't even see that.
But, yeah, I was shocked by him saying that. But, he only sat for 2 games. Should it have been more? And do you think that him only sitting 2 games was... Okay, let me put that second question this way. Do you think that the Red Sox wanted to sit him more games, but he said something and said, I want to play. Get me back in the lineup?
I wouldn't be surprised if he said something. I feel like the plan originally was maybe going to be like 3 or 4 games. It's kind of.
I feel like it should have been longer.
But he came back after 2 and he hit 3 for 8 in the last 2 games, so maybe he was ready to come back.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I mean, I don't know what it is. He claims that it's like kind of fixed, but like, I still think they should have sat him for more games, because I still think that he could use the more time off, and no one at the time when he said at the time that he was ready to go or whatever, no one knew that. Like, no one knew these numbers. He was going to hit 3 for 8.
Right.
When they said he's back in the lineup, they shouldn't have put him back in the lineup. They weren't going to know that he was ready. So I feel like it should have been at least 3 or 4 games, if not maybe a week. Just keep him out of the lineup. They were winning without him in there, because that means Hanley didn't have to play left field.
That is nice.
And that's always nice when that happens. So I think they should have sat him longer. I mean, granted, I'll take the 3 for 8, but I think this is what you're going to get with him all year. I don't think it's getting much better, folks. I don't think it's coming. I think this is what you're going to get all year.
We'll agree to disagree.
I don't know if it's I just don't see him playing. I don't see him playing on another team, and we've been through this with him so many times that it's hard to predict it, really. But I just think that this is it. Like, he's usually picked it up by now. And even I've heard arguments like, oh, well, maybe he just plays better in the warm weather. And once I'm like, it's June. It's been warm.
It's been warm, yeah.
And even on the road trips, he just played in Texas. He's been playing on the West Coast. There's no excuse for the cold weather anymore. It's not April.
Now, what I have to say is if he is gonna continue playing, then the team needs him. So he'll need to figure it out if he is gonna keep playing.
Yeah, the team definitely needs him. I'm not questioning that at all. The team needs him to be him, or even like a shell of what he once was, because he's not going to be put in 6th or 7th in the lineup. He's going to be hitting 3rd if he's playing, maybe 5th, but like realistically, he's hitting 3rd. So they need him to hit, tremendously need him to hit. All right, we can stop talking about David Ortiz, because that's really going to go nowhere. Because again, you never really know what you're going to get.
And no one wants him to leave or get worse, so it's kind of a sore subject.
Exactly. But one thing that happened last offseason that hasn't really panned out this offseason, okay, for me, half, but they signed Pablo Sandoval and Hanley Ramirez. Has it been worth it, Jess? Because we're seeing Hanley hit the ball, at least, well, he was. Obviously, he didn't have a great May. We talked about that. But hitting the ball a little better at the end of May. Obviously, phenomenal April. Was his bat worth him in left field? And has Panda panned out, too? Like, what's going on with these two? Because they're supposed to help this offense, and they've done nothing. I mean, Panda's done a little better, but they haven't done much with these two in the lineup.
Yeah, I was looking forward to talking about this, because actually this was my question this week on Reached. I said, were Hanley Ramirez and Pablo Sandoval bad signings? I got 5 responses so far. 3 have said no, and 2 have said yes. So there is some differences in that question, not the same answer from everyone, which I was hoping to get. And I asked it because at this point, things could always change. That's obviously the case. But at this point, I don't think the signings have been worth it for either of them. I'll start with Hanley. Obviously, his fielding's not worth it. I expected him to be much better in left field. I expected him to give more effort in left field. And if he really doesn't feel like he can give the effort because he's going to get hurt, then he shouldn't be out there in the first place. So his awful fielding and his lack of caring and his lack of clutch hitting, yes, he has 12 home runs, and that's been exciting, but most of them were all like at once in April, and they weren't necessarily big hits that like were clutch and won the game. They were just kind of whenever. We just talked about he hit a first inning RBI, but he got out in a huge spot in the 8th inning. He does that too much. His average has been dropping consistently. I don't know if it's because he's hurt or just because he's not as good anymore. But regardless, either way, the Red Sox got him to be healthy and to be good, and neither one has really happened as much as they wanted it to. So I think he's been a disappointment. I know I didn't expect this many home runs from him, but I expected him to be more clutch and to hit better than 261 and to not be so inconsistent and to be much better in the field. I did not know it was going to be such a disaster. And the worst part with him is his attitude. I think his attitude's bad for the team, and I think you can pin the struggles in this team definitely at least partly on him, because you want guys with good attitudes, and I don't think he has a good one.
With Hanley or Ramirez, who would have thought left field was this difficult to play?
Right?
Like, I mean, I guess left field needs to be a little more practiced, I guess, well thought out, because, and I've been hearing things too, Jess, and like on local sports talk shows, and I've read some articles about it. Apparently in spring training, he didn't try too hard to learn the position. And like, he came in here thinking he's going to be the next DH, especially once Ortiz is done. So like, the effort's probably not there, been there 100% from him. But still, I still don't think left field should be that hard.
And you think you figure it out in 2 months. And
like, even if that's the case, which what I'm about to propose is not my original thought, but why don't you let him play first base and take Napoli out of the lineup? Napoli hasn't sat.
It would be an easier thing to do since Napoli has done way worse than people expected.
If you can't play first base,
then you can't play.
You're
period.
a boob.
Yeah,
you're a boob. You need to retire, because you can't, literally, it's come off the bag, field the ground ball, tag the bag, or when it's not hit to you, walk to the bag, put one foot on the bag, catch the ball. That's it. Barely has to move. You know he can field the ground ball. He played shortstop his entire life.
That's hard to believe, isn't it?
So, like, yeah, right? I don't even know how he did that.
I have no idea.
But he's a shortstop. So, like, he can play first base. And he's going to get a bigger mitt to catch the ball with. Like, I don't, think that should be a difficult situation. And clearly, Napoli's done after this year. Just train him to play first base.
Yeah, it's probably the best idea. But I don't know, it's just the attitude. Like, he doesn't seem to care about playing left field. When he came here, he was like, this is the best thing ever. Like, I really wanted to come here. I really wanted to be back on this team. I'm out here to prove stuff. And like, but has he really shown that? I mean, yes, he's gotten some good hits. I mean, for example, he's gotten 2 hits in each of 3 of the last 4 games. Has it resulted in wins? No. So he's not making. He's putting up numbers sometimes, but very inconsistently. And when he does, it doesn't necessarily mean they win. And he's just like a clubhouse guy. I don't see him doing anything in the clubhouse. He just doesn't seem to be making the difference that he wanted to make and they wanted to make. I think it's been a pretty big disappointment so far.
Yeah, Hanley has been a very big disappointment.
So now I want to cover Pablo Sandoval. I know we disagree on this a little bit. We were both really excited for him, and he'd won 3 out of 5 World Series, and he was the next new big thing. And for me, between his horrendous right-handed hitting and just kind of like Ramirez, his lack of leadership and just making a difference, getting wins, it's not really happening, and his numbers have just been dropping consistently, just like Hanley. Pablo's down to 251. He's only hit 5 homers, 17 RBI. He's not making that much of a difference. He's not doing what people expected. I expect him to be way better than this, and just the inconsistency with the hitting from both sides of the plate, and just I guess taking a long time to get used to his situation here in Boston. He's been a big disappointment for me. I expected way more out of him.
Okay, let's see. Last couple years, he hit 283 in 2012, All-Star selection that year. 2013, he hit 341. 2014, he hit 324. This year, he's hitting 317. That's his OBP. I lied. I always do that. Completely wrong. Not even close to the right one. I had it in front of me. Okay. 2012, 283. 2013, 278. 2014, 279. This year, 251. He's never been, except for that year in 2012, he had 1 year. He's only had 1 year in his career he hit over 300. That was 2011. And he was an All-Star 11 and 12.
No, in 2009 he hit 330.
Oh, yes, he did. And then I don't really count 2008 because there's only 41 games. So, he's not that guy. He's not going to be the guy. Granted, I'll give it to you. It's been a rough situation for so far in terms of hitting for as high as average as he's used to hitting. But He always starts off kind of slow, for one. For two, the right-handed hitting is definitely a problem. That's no question. But clearly he's getting away from it. He's not going to fix it. He's just going to stop hitting right, which is fine with me. He's addressed it, and he's going to be done with it. He's used to being on bad teams every other year. This is his off year. I hate to use this as an argument, but I don't think that he's the problem. He's playing well. Yeah, his defense has been a little sluggish, a little bit. But who would you rather have, him or Will Middlebrooks?
I don't know at this point with how he's played. Neither. He's not.
Okay,
he's not
but
helping.
what would your other option have been? Chase Headley?
I don't know. I expected him to be the big thing, and he was hyped up to be the big thing. They paid him a lot of money, and I think it's been a huge flop.
Okay, well, first of all, we all know we overpaid for him. There's no question in that. You weren't paying for what you were actually going to get. You had to overpay him to get him here. And I think that over the course of the rest of this contract, it's going to work out. It's going to be fine. The next time they win a World Series, he's going to be on the team.
Is that just because you like him, though, or because he's actually going to be good?
No, I'm pretty confident that next time he wins a World Series, it'll be with this team. He's going to be your third baseman when you win a World Series. Now, I don't know if Hanley will be on the team still. And if that's the case, he'll probably be the DH. But I also don't think that you're going to win another World Series with David Ortiz on the team. Because I just think you're too far away from winning another World Series, and he's not getting any younger. But I think in terms of asking the question that I posed was, are these two have been worth it? And what we posed on Reach to people. I think it's a matter of Hanley's absolutely not worth it so far, unless you can get him out of the field or move him to first base so he can be a complete boob on first and not in left field. And Pablo has been worth it so far, I think. I don't think Pablo's been the problem. I think he's come up with big hits. I just think that you have bigger issues with Hanley in left field and David Ortiz's swing, and Pablo Sandoval has been fine. He hasn't really been too bad. Obviously, the right hitting side of the plate has only been the major problem for him, and he's been avoiding that. So
I think you're being too nice to him. I think he's done pretty bad.
I think that Panda gets a pass. Hanley does not, because his feelings suck.
Look, this team needs veteran leadership, and the reason they're not winning games is because Ortiz is not playing well, Sandoval's not playing well, and Ramirez is not playing well. That's it. That's pretty much it right there. That's
okay, but like Pedroia is playing well.
Sure.
Do you discount that completely?
No, he's the one guy who has, and that's not enough. They need all these veteran guys to do well, and they're not. They're just not.
I think the big issue I think it's Hanley and Ortiz. I think it's really Hanley. I think this offense is built to go when Hanley goes. And Hanley's not going. Notice they were winning all the time when Hanley was hitting those 12 home runs or whatever, 10 home runs in April,
Yep.
and getting all those. It was when Hanley was hitting.
Totally.
When Hanley goes, this team will go. And Hanley's not going. And he's getting there. And I hate the excuse that he used when Hanley said, "Oh yeah, I've been hitting hard balls right at people." Like, shut up. just shut up.
Stop making excuses.
Stop making excuses. Exactly. All right, we went way over with that, so we're gonna move on. But because I want to get to our fantasy segment, and then we'll get to a quick recap, a quick preview before we get out of here. So, fantasy segment here. We're gonna get going here. Top 2 ads each week. I'll start this week, Jess. I'm gonna go with Billy Burns, Oakland, and I'm gonna say because, and it's a good reason. He's hitting .327 right now, and Coco Crisp is out until the All-Star break at least. So he's going to get his time out there playing for the A's, and I think that he's playing well. He's not available in he is available, in a good chunk of leagues, and I think that you should go check him out. He's a good choice, and I think he's going to get more playing time so that .327 can stay consistent enough. That it probably will at least take over 300 the batting average. So I definitely go out and get Billy Burns.
I'm on board with that. That's a good pick. He's done well this season, and he's going to keep playing. So definitely go pick him up. I'm going 2 pitchers this week. My first one is Carlos Martinez on the St. Louis Cardinals. He was a reliever last year, and now he's been starting games. He's 5-2 with a 3.13 ERA, and he has 64 strikeouts. So if he's available in your league, that's the guy you got to get, because pretty low ERA, lots of Ks, and a nice winning record. Can't argue with that.
No, you can't complain. Can't complain at all. It's a very, very good choice. All right. My second pick here. All right. I know you all aren't going to agree with this, but we talked about it earlier in the show.
I agree with it.
Clay Buchholz is a value fantasy starter right now. 3.31 ERA with a 1.10 WHIP in May, with 7.02 K per 9 rate. That's great fantasy numbers. I'm sorry, but like most pitchers you have on your roster probably aren't under 3 for an ERA, and probably are over 4. So get Clay Buchholz. We just talked about at the beginning of the show how much he has not been the issue with this rotation. He has pitched well. We haven't talked about crapping him. I haven't been crapping on Clay Buchholz.
You haven't.
That means he's pitching fine. Go out and get Clay Buchholz. I promise you, he might not be on your roster long. It might be a gamble in your opinion because of the way he is in terms of up and down with his pitching. 3.31 in a month of May with 1.1 WHIP and 7.02 strikeouts every 9 innings he pitches. It's worth it. Go get him. The strikeouts are there as well. Go get Clay Buchholz, I promise you. He's not the worst pitcher on the staff. He's probably the best one right now in the month of May. So Clay Buchholz is the way to go.
Go figure.
Right? And that's, of all people, me telling you to go get Clay Buchholz.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. I never thought this day would happen.
I haven't crapped on him in a good month, Jess.
I know. He's proven people wrong. I like it.
Like, he has not sucked eggs in a good month.
Nope. He's doing well.
So
see what he does tomorrow.
Hopefully for his sake he doesn't suck.
Yeah. My second guy is Chris Young on Kansas City. He's been around for a while. Big, tall dude. I think he's like 6'8" or 6'9" or something. And he's surprisingly quietly had a really good year. He's 4-1 with a 1.55 ERA. He's had a number of solid starts. Doing it kind of quietly, but they're a good team, and he's been a good pitcher in a good situation. So I think if he's available in your league, then he's another guy who's just probably sitting there in a lot of leagues not being picked up because people haven't really heard of him, but he's having a real nice year. Yeah,
I really like the Chris Young sponsor there, Jess. It's a good way to get on them. I like it. It's a good choice. So, Jess had Carlos Martinez, St. Louis, and Chris Young of the Kansas City Royals. Great choices. Phenomenal choices. I had Billy Burns, only hitting positional player this week here on Fantasy Baseball on Red Sox Beat. So, go check him out. And, of course, I offered up the doozy of a choice of Clay Buchholz. So, do what you want with that one. But I suggest you go get him. So, those are your 4 top picks here on the Fantasy Baseball segment on Red Sox Beat. Again, this is a wonderful program. You can go check us out on iTunes and Stitcher, on Twitter at Red Sox Beat, on Facebook. We're on Google+. We're going to be on Tumblr soon. We're everywhere. We're hitting up the entire interweb. So go check us out everywhere, anywhere. All right, Jess, we got just about out of time here for this week, but I don't want to forget about the old. We're going to preview this. We're going to preview the week that is about to come. I'm going to leave the last topic that I had for next week because who knows, it might be even more reason. Just a tidbit of what it would be. It's talking about firing Farrell. So
it's been talked about enough. We can leave it off.
Stay tuned for that next week because if they suck again this week, you're going to hear it.
But that won't be me talking about it because I won't be here.
Yeah. So Jess, I don't even know who I'm going to be joined by yet. I haven't figured that out. So I will be here next week, but Jess won't.
Enjoy the show because you won't be hearing me for a couple weeks.
Yeah. So that might be on next week. We'll decide. I'll figure it out. But I do for a programming note, I do want him to be fired for a personal note. All right, go ahead. Let's preview the week ahead, Jess. 4 against the Twins, 3 against the A's. Now a doubleheader on Wednesday. Jess has them going 2-2. I have them going 1-3 against the Twins. Remind you, they just got swept by the Twins. So, Jess, why 2-2?
They got to start winning home games. 7-game home stand. They
got to start winning it all.
Something's got to happen soon. I was crying for a huge week last week. I was horrendously wrong. They got to do something soon, and it starts with winning home games. I'm not going insane. I'm only picking 2-2. I'm not picking them to go a 4-game sweep over a team they just got swept by, who currently stands at first in the American League. I'm not doing that, but you got to at least split the series. So I really hope they can go 2-2. They need a couple of good pitching outings, and more importantly, they need offense from guys they haven't been getting it from. So please win 2 out of 4. I don't think that's asking too much.
I'm gonna say they're only winning a game. They're only winning a game that's gonna be when Eddie Rodriguez pitches in front of a half full Fenway Park on Wednesday afternoon. They're not winning. The Twins are too hot. The Red Sox are crap. They're winning 1 game against the Twins at home, and as much as I hate to put all that pressure on Eddie, but Eddie, man, you got to give me another win.
He's the only guy who wins in 2 weeks.
So imagine the conversation if that's the case.
Right. A week and a half.
Not going to be good.
A week and a half of games, and he gets the only 2 wins.
Not going to be good for this team. Good for his sake, but not good for the rest of this team. So, all right, so Jess has them going 2-2 in that first series, starting now tomorrow night and Tuesday because of the rain out. I have them going 1-3. Next series, you got a weekend bout with the A's, 3 games here at home. Jess has them sweeping the A's. That's ballsy. That's the way they're playing. I have them winning a game and going 1-2 against the A's. Jess, why all the all of a sudden turn? Why would they even think about sweeping the A's?
Well, if they win 2 out of 2, 2 out of 4, like I think they will against the Twins, then they'll be feeling a little better, like enough for this losing stuff. Beat a good team 2 out of 4 games.
Awful decision.
So then you come into face Oakland, you got some more home games, which you hope you want to win. The A's are the only team that are as bad as the Red Sox right now, as funny as that is. They're the only team below the Red Sox, so I feel like this would be a good opportunity to continue the momentum of getting 2 wins against the Twins, sweep the A's, sweep them under the rug, get back on a winning track, go 5-2 at home. And
Weren't they supposed to have momentum coming out of those Angels games too, Jess?
Yeah, I'm just being hopeful here, alright?
Alright, well, I'm being realistic. They're going 1-2. Minimum. I mean, no, not minimum. Max. Like, they're going to get 1 win, maybe.
But the A's are terrible, and they're worse than the Red Sox.
I was pushing to getting swept by the A's.
Oh, you got to at least have them win 2. They're worse than us.
A little more realistic. So they're going 1-2 against the A's. You're not going to sway me on that one. So that has me going. They're going 2-5 on this for homestand. Jess has them going
5-2.
5-2. Oof, ballsy. The guy who had him going 6-1 last week.
So don't take my word for it, I guess.
So don't take Jess's word for it at all. I got players to watch. Minnesota, Torrey Hunter by far. He's been the lightning in the bottle for them. He's been so good for that team. Against the A's, I don't even know. What are the pitching matchups against the A's, Jess? Do you have it in front of you?
I don't know.
Is Scott Kazmir pitching?
I can find it for you.
I don't know. I was going to say look out for Scott Kazmir if he's pitching, but I don't know if he's pitching or not.
I'm not even sure if they've all been decided up to this point.
That's true. Sometimes they know. Check ESPN. They'll know.
I'm just checking out RedSox.com.
Good old 4-letter network.
They have up until Friday, which is Wade Miley, against, who knows, to be announced, so we don't know yet.
Okay, so. I don't even know, man. Just look out. I'm still going to say look out for Scott Kazmir because I'm assuming he's pitching.
Look out for nobody because we're going 3-0 and they're not going to win any games.
All right, well, that's Jess's lookout for the A's. Jess, who do you got on the Twins to look out for?
Trevor Plouffe because he destroyed us in the last series. Watch out for the dangerous guy who's already hurt you, you know?
Fair. That's fair.
But I want to say one thing. Since I'm not going to be on the show next week, if I get these 2 series remotely correct or correct, please give me credit on the show.
I will gladly I'll give you credit when credit's due.
Because I gave myself
I'm giving you credit right now where credit's due for a crappy pick.
All right.
For a crappy look ahead.
Fair enough.
They're not going 5-2.
Hey, you know what? Anything can happen. Anything's
possible. Chance.
Oh
my God! The Red Sox won the pennant. No, they're not going 5-2. That's just insane. All right, do you want to spell off some Reach results here before we get out of here, Jess?
Well, I gave you the one for the Hanley and Paulo bad signings, which is... Oh, hold on. We got one more response in. It's now 4-2 in favor of no, they were not bad signings. So people are not ready to jump off that bandwagon yet. My question before that was, what should John Farrell do with the rotation? And this was after Rodriguez was slotted in, making it a current 6-man rotation. And we got 7 responses for that, and 5 of them have said keep a 6-man rotation. So people are liking this because, as me and Jared talked about off-air before, the pitching staff is not good enough that you want to make it a 5-man rotation, so that you can have that ace pitcher like John Lester not having more days off than they already have off. They're not good enough to do that, and you have a bunch of guys who are like on the edge of being good and being bad. So a 6-man rotation makes sense to us, and apparently makes sense to most other people. The 2 other respondees said replace Stephen Wright with Eduardo Rodriguez.
Oh, wrong decision. I'm sorry.
And nobody said replace Joe Kelly with Rodriguez. That was interesting to me.
That's weird. That's the one they're actually going to do if that's the case. So.
I really think so.
Yeah. All right. Well, there it is. Gotta love the Reach results. We'll keep keeping an eye out for that. When we ask the Reach questions, they get posted to all of our social media accounts. Again, you can find us at Red Sox Beat, at Red Sox Beat. You search it on Facebook as well. Google Plus. I'm going to get a Tumblr going. I've been really slacking on that one. But we'll be up on Tumblr, so you can reblog all of our stuff there. A bunch of stuff going on. You can find us anywhere. Of course, please, if you haven't already and you like the show, go on iTunes, rate, review, and subscribe us on there. We'd love the help. And, so that's all the places you can find us. Fans, don't forget, we're doing a great promo here if you like to read via the audiobook. CLNS Radio, the CLNS Beat podcast series, and Audible are giving you a free audiobook from the world's biggest online library. All you have to do is simply go to audiopodcast.com/Celtics, and you can get your free audiobook from us here at CLNS and the people at Audible. It's good stuff. I love for audiobooks, Jess. It's good times. My girlfriend loves audiobooks, too, because she likes to listen to Harry Potter in the car.
She's not the only one.
Yeah, I'm sure she's not. So it's a great feature. It's not a feature. It's a great promo situation. So go on and get your free audiobook. Just go on. Again, audiblepodcast.com/Celtics. Jess, we had a good show. It was, despite the rain out today and the rainy grossness that is outside today. We had a good show. Kept our spirits high. Didn't have to crap on Clay Buchholz, so that was a thing.
Now he's got to start winning.
Yeah, just got to start winning. That's all it is. Jess wants them to go 5-2 this week. You're stupid. Not going to happen. I think you're smoking something, Jess.
Hey, when it happens, you can come back to me, all right?
You're smoking something. You're not going to be here next week. All right.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it.
All right. So that's true. I'm going to get a text from you when they're at like 4-2. I'm going to be right. Oh my
Every
God.
win they get, I'm going to be texting you. Hey, you know what? They got to win.
Hey, win. And once they're above 2, I'm wrong. So, all right. Jess is not.
Oh well.
Jess is not going to be here next week. He's camping. Good for you. Enjoy. I will be here next week.
You're going to have to do a weekly recap.
Co-host TBD. Haven't decided yet. So we'll figure that one out. I might not even announce it, Jess. I might just let it be a surprise to whoever listens to the show. That being said, I don't know who's going to do the weekly recap next week either. Who knows? I might let the other guy do it. Or the other girl do it. Whoever's going to co-host. So until next week, for Jess Thomas, who'll be back in 2 weeks, I'm Jared Skelly. Of course, this is Red Sox Beat on CLNS Radio. Enjoy the attempted good week at baseball. See ya!